All right, we're going to get started here. My name is Leslie Farrington. I'm an English teacher, and today we're talking about English 11 Semester 1. We're going to focus on the Unit 7 argument paragraphs sections. There are 3 assignments we're going to cover tonight, which is kind of a lot for a live session, but they're pretty quick assignments. Actually, it's 4 assignments, I'm sorry. They're pretty quick assignments for the most part, and they really go together well, so I want to make sure that we are understanding the full scope of each assignment. As I've been grading lately, I've noticed that some people are struggling a little bit with how to do the citations or exactly what's necessary or needed for each assignment. So I wanted to make sure that we review this again. So the first one is 711, which is just choosing a topic. For an argument topic to be a good topic, it has to be two-sided and it has to be arguable. You are only just writing the topic. This does not need you to write a whole paragraph or an explanation for why you chose the topic. You're just telling me, like, my topic is this. Arguable means that you have to be able to argue against it. So if you are completely for something, like animal cruelty is bad, right? That's great. But you probably aren't going to find somebody to side against that. That's like very pro animal cruelty, right? Like most people are against animal cruelty. So you want to find something that you could argue against, saying something like online learning is better than face-to-face learning is something that you could find arguments for both sides. So for 711, you're just writing the topic and make sure that it's something you can argue both sides of. For 731, you're going to cite your sources. So you have to use 2 reliable sources. Something that makes a reliable source is an unbiased site or article. It should be current information. If they're books, that means that they've been edited and published, so that's always a good thing. Educational institutions are good. Peer-reviewed journals are great. Scholarly articles, are also great. Google Scholar is a great an option for searching. Digital encyclopedias are also really good options for this. So when you're doing this assignment, you're going to find 2 sources that are reliable. You have to have 1 for each side of your argument. So even if you know already which side you're going to argue, you still have to find a source that supports the opposite side of your argument. For this assignment, you are just listing the topic you're researching, and then you're going to cite each source correctly using MLA format. The place that a lot of people get tripped up with this assignment is that sometimes people just give me 2 websites with their topic, which is not how you correctly cite it in MLA format, so you'd lose points on that and you'd have to redo it. So when you're citing it, you really want to make sure that you're doing the right MLA format for citation. So I'm going to show you a couple of websites to use to do that. The first one that is a really great reference site is Purdue OWL. So this is a link, but this is the actual website if you just type this in. So you can click on over to Purdue OWL. If you've used Purdue OWL before, you'll notice it looks a little bit different from what it used to because they've given it a new look. See, welcome to the new look. And so instead of having like the options up here, you can scroll down a little bit and you can just go to their writing lab. If you go down most popular resources, the one you want to use for English classes at least is MLA Formatting and Style Guide. When you click on there, you're going to see right on the main page, they give you all the things you need for a citation, with all the details exactly explaining what each of those things is. But if you scroll back up to the top, you can see that if you go over to the left-hand side, there's a menu on the side. There are a few things I want to call your attention to. So for this assignment, basic format, great. This shows you exactly how a works cited page looks. I'm going to go back here. Something else that's really helpful for when you're doing assignments for this class especially, is the electronic sources area, because this shows you how to cite things that are not just your basic website, but things online. This is a really good place if you have tweets that you're trying to cite, or YouTube articles, or YouTube videos, emails, or anything like that. This gives you more specific details about how to cite online sources, which is great. This is also just a really good place. If any kind of citation or how to format something for English classes, this is a really good source. The other source that I would suggest using if you have some of the information, even just like a website, is easybib.com. So when you go over to easybib.com, this is what it looks like when you pull it up. You click I only want to create citations. And then right here under source type, you can tell whatever source you want to. and then you're just going to copy and paste a cite in there, click cite, you're going to want to be on MLA 8. You click cite, and then you're going to have to click through a couple of different screens. And at the end, it will pop out a citation that you can just copy and paste. You definitely want to check all the pieces of the citation to make sure that they work correctly, but, or not that they work correctly, but that they're in the correct format and that they didn't pull in any of the wrong information. But this is a really good way to at least help you see what the format should look like probably before you put it into your assignment. So what I just told you is written on the slide. So if you're watching this recording later, you are able to pause at this point if you'd like to, and you can either click over to the website or you can copy down the notes for this. So this is a good place to pause if you're watching a recording of this later. When you're formatting citations, you want to do a few specific things. And if you miss one of these things, it dings you for some points. If you miss two of these things, it brings you down to a 59% where you have to fix at least one of them, hopefully both of them, in order to move on to a passing grade. So you have to have it in alphabetical order. So if you have 3 citations, they all need to be in alphabetical order, starting at the top. You have to have it double spaced. You shouldn't need a bunch of extra spaces, but you do need double spacing through the entire document. It needs to have a hanging indent. And this is one that a lot of people aren't really sure of how to do it. If you're doing it in a Word document, it's pretty easy to do. If you're trying to do it in the comment box, sometimes it's a little bit tricky to format things in the comment box. So for something like this, my suggestion would be to use Word or Google Docs, because I think it's a little bit easier to do. So I've written instructions on how to create a hanging indent here, and I'm going to show you in a second too. So you're going to place your cursor before the text, then you're going to go up to Format, Paragraph, Indentation, Special, Hanging Indent, and click OK, which sounds like a ton of steps, but I'm going to show you right now, it's really not. So if this was your works cited page that you're looking at, and you're like, oh, like I just can't get this because every time I hit tab, it makes the whole thing move and it's driving me crazy. So what you're going to do is instead of hitting tab and trying to hit enter tab and things like that, right? First of all, I forgot to double space this, so that's my mistake. I'm going to go to Format, Paragraph, Line Spacing, Double. Okay, so now that we've double spaced our document, you're going to put the cursor right before whatever you need to have the hanging indent, okay? Then you're going to go to Format, Paragraph, and then you're going to look for the section you want. And the section you want for this is indentation. You're going to go over here where it says Special. Instead of None, you're going to click Hanging, and then you just click OK, and it automatically gives you a hanging indent. And then when you come up here, you hit Enter, it brings you down here, and it brings you right back to the left hand. So every time you do a, excuse me, every time you do a citation, oh, all right, not sure why that's happening. Oops. I think that has to do with my screen share, so I'm not really sure how to change my screen share to all my stuff. Let's see if I can, okay. Does that work better? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so make it double spaced again. So when you're over here, I'll say that again, I'm sorry. You're gonna put the cursor right here, go to Format, Paragraph, and then you're looking for indentation where it says Special, and right now it says None, but you're gonna click down to Hanging, click OK, and it pops it over to Hanging Indent. And then it brings you right back to Left Justified when you click Enter again. So for each citation, you do have to go through and do the hanging indent individually, but you shouldn't, I mean, you're not gonna have that many sources that it won't be too terrible to have to do. And I think it does make it look, it's just a lot easier to do it that way. So that is my suggestion. Okay, clicking back over to our presentation. So those are the things you need to make sure for sure that you have in your presentation. All right, my contact information is right here. My name is Leslie Farrington, so if you're trying to chat me, you can just type my name in. And if you'd rather email me, my name right here, leslie.farrington@graduationalliance.com. So moving on to 7.4.1, is writing both sides of the argument. So you're going to deal with one source and one paragraph at a time. Each paragraph has to follow the format that's provided, and it has to have 2 citations. So make sure that this is the format that's in the assignment you're going to see right here. So your topic sentence shouldn't start with I think. It should just be a strong statement. You're going to have a summarizing statement, 2 facts with citations. These need to actually be quotes or paraphrases. You can't just attach a fact without actually citing it. Then your opinion on the fact and the concluding sentence. Underneath each paragraph, you're going to have your MLA citation for their source. Like your works cited source that you just did in the last assignment. So this is what it's going to look like as your paragraph. I've put the outline tags in blue so that you can kind of see where we're at. So topic sentence, online learning is better than face-to-face learning. Your summarizing statement might be, there is a lot of debate about whether online learning is beneficial to students. You're just summarizing what your topic is. Then your first concrete detail. First of all, comma, with a quote mark, you're giving a quote, right? Accessibility and convenience were important advantages of this mode of education, with the parentheses with the author's last name in the parentheses. Another one, in addition, with another quote, with the author's last name in parentheses again. The commentary, there are a lot of reasons people take online courses. Concluding sentence, some students feel much more at ease and are more successful working online when compared to face-to-face classrooms. And then underneath here, you would have the citation for those sources, the sources. The place that a lot of people get mixed up on this assignment is that they don't give the parentheses with the author's last name. Sometimes they give me the whole website, which will lose you some points because it's incorrectly cited. Sometimes instead of putting any quote marks at all, they just use words from the article and just paste them here with no quotes. And sometimes they just kind of like summarize something from the article, but don't really use any kind of citation or paragraph, or I'm sorry, or a quote. So you definitely would like to get full credit. You want to use those things in there. An in-text citation looks like this. So online learning can be beneficial as face-to-face learning. For example, there's a comma to introduce it, and then the quote mark. If all factors were taken into account, the learning outcomes were equivalent. With the quote mark, with the author's last name. So when you're looking at your actual citation, this is the citation underneath it. But all you're including in your in-text citation is just this author's last name. If there is no author, then you would include the next thing that's in your citation. So then you could include the title. Okay, and if it's a long title like this, you don't necessarily have to include the whole thing. But if you'll notice, the website is way down here. So it's a lot more likely that you're going to have an author's name or a title of the article or the title of the source before you'd get to the website. So you should not usually have a website just dropped into your document. For 7.4.2, this is a little bit different because you're not actually just taking whatever paragraph you agreed with. I forgot to say this, I'm going to back up 1 second. In 7.4.1, you're doing this for both sides too. So you're doing this whole outline here for one side, and then you're starting over with your new source and doing it for the second side. When you move on to 7.4.2, you're just choosing whatever side you want to argue. You can agree with both sides, that's fine. But you're just choosing one argument or one side that you're going to argue. There won't be any citations in this paragraph. You're actually writing a new paragraph. So you are writing the concrete detail is the biggest difference, and this is in your own words. So you can use some of the ideas that you researched, but it should not be quote marks. You shouldn't be using like numbers and things like that from your research because that's usually a citation. So this is just in your own words, what side do you agree with and why? All right. My contact information again is up here, Leslie Farrington. If you have any questions, feel free to chat me or email me. I am usually available in the evenings because I work during the day at a middle school. So I'm around usually until about 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, taking questions and answering things like that. And at any time during the day, you're always welcome to email me too, because I try to get back to you guys as quickly as I can. Thank you very much for listening, and I will talk to you next time.